saying, were it not for double standards, liberals would have no standards at all. I just wish they wouldn't prove me right so frequently. Good morning and welcome. It's Thanksgiving week. That means family. That means liberals. Well, not for everybody, I guess. But for a lot of us. If you've got a Thanksgiving dinner with no bomb-throwing Antifa, bandana sporting, kleptocratic, organ-harvesting lunatics smashing out the windows in your house, well, then you're lucky. I wonder what they do at Senator Tim Kaine's house. You know, Hillary, Diane, Rodham, Clinton's running mate. Kind of jogging mate. They didn't quite make it, did they? I wonder what Hillary's doing for Thanksgiving. You know, nobody's invited her over. Bill doesn't want her. Chelsea's off with her hedge fund manager husband, who's got the ex-convict father. You know, it's a complicated family. I wonder if Humma Wiener will be there. She'll bring the peanut butter in a spoon. They can stay up late, make a fort, watch a scary movie, have a crazy time. You know how they are, that Humma Wiener and her gal pal Hillbilly there. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, wait a minute. It's another crazy weekend. Anybody follow the stuff going on over the weekend? It's nuts. The fires in California, berserk, just berserk. Now they say there are 1,300 people missing, and where we have the numbers are a bit all over the place, but a whole bunch, scores. 80-something people killed, and now they were saying 1,000 over the weekend. Yesterday, last night, it became 1,300 plus people unaccounted for. What is this, World War II? It's completely nuts. It's California, the land of disasters. Where's George Kennedy when you need him? They got to dig him up, bring him out, solve this whole thing. California, land of disasters. And they keep electing Jerry Brown. I think Jerry Brown was governor there when I was like 5 years old, and he's either still governor or governor again. I think there were some governors in between. They don't seem to have helped much. We're at 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625 is our telephone number. And I want to welcome a new station out of Lynchburg, Virginia, WIQO. Joining the WIQO family, and happy to be there. Thank you for having us, and we'll try to have fun together. Lynchburg, Virginia, and covers a whole huge area, Roanoke and Richmond, all kinds of great stuff, a great station. I spoke with their nice people this morning on the morning show. I spoke with Mary and Brian and had a very nice time with them. Great people, great sense of humor, good, fun people. And thank you for having me, WIQO. Now, as for the weekend, there was a lot of stuff. Political stuff. You know, the Democrats, they're still counting. They love to count and count and count. They're not real good at counting. They were considering calling in Jethro Bodine to help them with their gazintas, and apparently he's not available either, Max Barrett Jr. But they worked and they worked and they worked in Florida, and in the end, of course, Senator Bill Nelson, who was the incumbent for 39 years, I think, he lost his Senate race. And did he actually concede? Because the new thing for the Democrats is to not concede, to be bitter, to claim if you're a woman, you claim it's sexism. If you're black, if you're white, you claim it like Bill Nelson. You claim it's some sort of electoral chicanery. And chicanery, I say. And of course, Bill Nelson, Senator Bill Nelson, he's been there forever. He's made quite an imprint on Washington, D.C. I think, you know, he's gone, but already forgotten. What will the world do without Bill Nelson? The country is on a rudder because Bill Nelson will no longer be in the Senate. He lost, and boy, he dug his fingernails into the leather desktop. You had to bring in Keith Ellison to take him by his ankles and drag him out of the room. And now Rick Scott, Governor Rick Scott, is going to be the next senator from the state of Florida. And that's a flip, as they say, because Bill Nelson was a Democrat, of course, Rick Scott a Republican, of course, and now that's one less Democrat in the Senate and one more Republican in the Senate, and that's good news. And Rick Scott being very gracious, of course, as you might expect. Bill Nelson being bitter and spreading rancor because that's the thing with Democrats. The Florida, where Andrew Gillum, he was the media sweetheart and for them candidate. Nobody asked Hillary to come campaign for them. Maybe they would have eked out these victories if Hillary had come and campaigned for them. No, they wouldn't have. Just kidding. That's just a cruel joke. Just a terrible and cruel joke. Hillary Clinton waking up this morning in a pool of her own vomit on her kitchen floor in her multi-million-dollar mansion in Chappaqua. Once again, the Secret Service shaking their heads, standing over her. Thanksgiving week is off to a great start for Hillary Clinton and the Clinton family. Honestly, what do you think they do in the Clinton household on Thanksgiving? It's got to be a terrible place to be. And this week on A&E, it's the television event of a generation. It's the Monica Lewinsky story. Anybody watch this last night? I know Victoria watched it last night. She's whooping. She's raising the roof in the studio next door. Victoria watched it, I know. Did you watch it last night? You didn't watch it. Michael didn't watch it. But Victoria watched it. I've got to say, I was kind of surprised. It took a long time for them to get to Monica Lewinsky's name. They spent the better part of the first hour. There were 2 hours on last night. It's a 6-hour television event of a generation. And they spent the better part of the first hour sowing the seeds of the vast right-wing conspiracy that had lined up against the poor Clintons, poor Bill Clinton, and poor Hillary Clinton, with all their corruption and the cheating and the lying and the stealing and all that stuff. And the series is made by lefties, of course, and they're done with the Clintons. So now, 20 years after the fact, they can finally come out and say, "Yeah, I guess we should have taken the side of," and you know that horse has left the barn. The barn has decayed and collapsed and burned down in a California fire, and it's absurd for them to now claim the moral high ground after the fact, that now they're on the correct side of history. This is what liberals do. They do it with a TV show, and now they can claim that they're on the side of the angels and that they always were. It's just another form of lie. There are 10,000 ways to lie in the naked city, and they trot out dozens and dozens of them every day around here, don't they? But I'm guessing that Hillary Clinton probably wasn't at home with a tub of popcorn, snuggled up with him in a DNC blanket watching the Monica show. I'm thinking that was not going on. Jar of peanut butter and a spoon and a remote control. What more do a couple of gals need hanging out around the house? But I'm sure that's not what they were doing. I did watch it. I watched all 2 hours of it, and so far there's less there than meets the eye, I've got to say. And every interview, they didn't do an interview with Jim, all right? But other than that, there are interviews, and every single interview that I saw are all completely in the tank for the Clintons. Like Joe Klein, the fake journalist, the little fake journalist, and he's just completely in the tank for the Democrats and the Clintons in particular, and he always has been. He's one of the key interviews. They've got Joe Lockhart, the former CNN guy, former CNN colleague of mine, who went on to become the White House spokesman for Bill Clinton. He's one of the key interviews. All of the key interviews for this 6-part series are all totally in the tank for the Clintons and the Democrats. The production is totally in the tank for the Clintons and the Democrats. And then they finally got around to showing some of the interview with Monica Lewinsky. They didn't get to the crying part yet, but, and as anybody who's been listening to the show for a long time may know, I knew Monica Lewinsky. I worked with Monica Lewinsky. And Hillary Clinton, you're no Monica Lewinsky. In fact, if you were, maybe there would have been no Monica Lewinsky, but that's another discussion for another day. So that thing is going on, and that's got to bring joy to the Clinton household on Thanksgiving week. That's got to make it even more fun. Hey, Bill, what do you got? Anything on the DVR? Yeah, I've been watching What? Nothing at all. Also, the political race back to the Democrats finally counting. How long did it take? Took a week and a half, more than tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks. and they were just conceding yesterday and day before, and they're not really even conceding. They're bitter, and they're claiming that democracy has been stolen, and there was voter suppression because not enough of their voters showed up, so they gotta make something up. They've got to lie about something, so they came up with a new set of lies to replace the old set of lies. It's what they do. They're politicians, after all. So Governor Rick Scott wins the Senate seat, and Bill Nelson is mumbling his way off into the sunset. And the governor's race, the Republican Ron DeSantis, Andrew Gillum. Has Andrew Gillum conceded yet? And Ron DeSantis was funny. He was on the Fox News channel this morning. He said the only thing better than winning the Florida governor's race is winning it twice in 1 week. And that's right. The news media, for some reason, doesn't point out that the Democrats are claiming voter suppression without evidence. You know, it's one of the news media / Democrat Party's favorite phrases these days is without evidence. President Trump claims that Democrats are stealing votes without evidence. But when Democrats come out and say there's voter suppression, the news media never says without evidence. It's a mantra for them when a Republican says anything that perhaps hasn't been proven but looks suspicious without evidence. But when Democrats make stuff up out of whole cloth, now at least the president was pointing to the obvious crookedness going on in Broward County with that lunatic woman who resigned over the weekend. You know, she